Hello, everyone. It's wonderful to continue our reflection on the book, The Way, the Truth, and the Life by our brother Emmanuel through the hands of Chico Xavier. We are on a chapter that is very, very important for all of us, workers of the Christ in the last hour. And the title of the chapter is Opportunity. And in the book of John, chapter 7, verse 6, it says, Jesus said to them, My time has not yet come, but your time is now. And Emmanuel goes on to explain this verse by saying, Bad workers are always complaining when they are not attributing their faulty work to their tools. They complain about the rain. Either they cannot stand the heat or they deplore the frost and the wind. They are blind people who are of little use because they see only the negative side of things. Good workers, on the other hand, understand, before anything else, the profound meaning of the opportunity they have received. They not only make use of all their own resources, but they also respect other people's. They do not depend on the seasons. They plant the fruits of the cold and the heat with the same enthusiasm. They are friends of nature. They learn its lessons. They are upbeat and they find the same contentment in both the hard work of sowing and the joy of harvesting. In this sense, the lesson of the Master is clothed in marvelous meaning. In the sorrow of the world in comprehension, we must not expect Christ's kingdom to be an immediate accomplishment. Even so, the opportunity is ongoing for people to collaborate fully with the gospel in order to spread it. The blind in spirit will continue to complain. On the other hand, those who have awakened to Christ know that their time of redemptive toil is now. It does not lie in the past or in the future. It is this very day. It is the blessed opportunity to serve in the name of the Lord, here and now. The chapter starts with the verse in the book of John by saying, Jesus said to them, My time has not yet come, but your time is now. And the chapter ends by saying, It is this very day, it is the blessed opportunity to serve in the name of the Lord here and now. So if today, in this very moment, is the blessed opportunity to serve in the name of the Lord, then why aren't we? Why at times, or maybe a lot of times, we wait for the environment to be welcoming. We wait for the soil to be fertile. We wait for us to gain skills to do a particular job, perhaps a charitable work. Why do we wait to get married to feel complete? Why do we wait for achieving something to start a goal that we always wanted to do? Perhaps you think you need more education and so on and so forth to start a project that perhaps your heart will lead the way. So things like that, it's important for us to think about this verse in a deeper way, because if the blessed opportunity it's now, when we see ourselves in a very difficult situation with very little resources, when the soil is not, I would say, ready to plant, And when obstacles are in front of us, we probably think 3, 5 times or more. Should I do this? Is this worth it? But the workers of the last hour don't have much to wait. We already wasted thousands and thousands of opportunities, many, many incarnations waiting, sleeping. The time is now to march towards following what Jesus has, I would say, with his example, has taught us. So let's analyze some of the paragraph in this verse. Let's go with the first one, typed nicely with what we just spoke about. Bad workers are always complaining when they are not attributing their faulty work to their tools. They complain about the rain, either they cannot stand the heat or they deplore the frost and the wind. When we complain about our tools, we don't have enough tools. Our tools are not good enough. Oh, my neighbors, they have tools better than that I do. Therefore, look, they're able to do more stuff. But when Jesus says, when you have faith, you move mountains, he meant it. Because in a way, it's a law of attraction that we can say law of faith. Where we put our mind into, that will grow. So if we tell ourselves, but also the place, the environment where we live, this I will do, then we open our hearts to the opportunity of learning, the opportunity of gaining new tools so that we are able to, little by little, with a lot of humility, knowing that you don't have all the tools at that moment, developing that skill of being humble and the virtue, hopefully one day we will, of have patience. And then also be humble enough to ask for help. Be humble enough to say, right now, I don't know this 100%. However, I will. I don't know this 100% yet, but I will keep pushing forward. And then the doors of opportunities will open. Because for those who really believe and want, they shall be given. When Jesus went to heal the sick, he always asked, what can I do for you? What would you like me to do for you? What would you like to do? And the person with the faith said, Master, could you heal me? Could you heal? I would like to walk again. That person, the paralytic man, did not have the tool to walk. His legs were not working. However, he had the faith that moved mountains. And what happens? The so-called miracle of walking came back to him in this lifetime. The question is, are we willing to be the paralytic person, knowing that we don't have much in that moment, but we have enough faith that things will happen and things will show up? So thinking like that, now we see this verse with much broader lenses. When Jesus said to them, my time has not yet come, but your time is now, is because now the time is for us to have faith, It's for us to take the opportunity of that bad weather to continue to work. But why? Why shouldn't we just wait for the good weather to come? Because where we are in the planet of trials and expiations, there's a lot of suffering, but there are a lot of blessings with it. When we take upon our responsibility and we walk towards Jesus, his teachings, taking care of our obligations, no matter if it's raining, snowing, no matter if it's in a very, very hot day, and we take care of our responsibilities, then we are doing the work of the last hour. And Emmanuel continues to say, they are blind people who are of little use because they see only the negative side of things. Viktor Frankl, from the book Man's Searching for Meaning, psychiatrist, they lived in the concentration camp. He studied those who were able to continue, those that unfortunately had to go through that, but in a way, there's always a meaning behind it, and only God knows. But those that were fortunate enough not to be sent to death at that camp, they had something deep within themselves. They had the will to live. So Viktor Frankl, he said, to live is to suffer. To survive is to find the meaning in that suffering. So as a spiritist, we know that suffering is a choice. It's just the meaning of the words. But we can change a bit by saying to live is to feel pain. To survive is to find the meaning behind that pain. Meaning behind the pain? What? What do you mean? The meaning behind the pain is when we go through very, very difficult situations in our lives, we are so connected with God and our purpose in that moment to survive, to live, to rejoice, to be grateful. That the strength comes from the Spirit, and in a way, help us to continue to live. So when we do concentrate on the negative side of things, we will stagnate. All that energy, the negative energy, will envelop us, cloud our emotions, cloud our thoughts, even our faith. So when we wake up this week, let's try to wake up already thinking positive thoughts. Perhaps the night before, already going to bed saying, wonderful things are happening with me. Wonderful things are happening in my life. Things are a blessing in my life and will always be. We are going to elevate our vibration in a way that we will welcome those wonderful opportunities. We will see in painful moments blessings. Because to go back to the gospel and see the pain that Jesus Christ went through, imagine carrying his own way of death, which is the cross, being put on a crown with spikes that went right in through his head after being beaten and whipped and cursed. So we're seeing physical pain, emotional, I would say, bombs, negative emotional saying sent to him, and then also trying to change his mental aspect. A lot of abuse is there. However, he kept on going. He kept on taking upon and taking all whatever responsibility he had in that moment. He saw in that moment an opportunity to grow, but also to leave a message to everyone around him, his lovely disciples, his mom, his community of followers, but to the whole world. His message is eternal and will be eternal because it lives in us. He blessed the psychosphere of the planet Earth by looking in that moment in a very positive way. Of course, Christ, the governor of the planet Earth, our role and model, he's already a Christ. But in order for him to become a Christ, he went through very, very different levels of evolution. Sure, took him a long time. It will take us a long time. But when we refocus, just like the lenses of a photographer, when something is so far out, puts a special lens and tries to focus on that point or that target or whatever wants to film. Are we doing that? Oh, are we so worried about the obstacles? Everything is so far, everything is so hard. My body's aching. I'm dying. Or whatever situation we are going through. Of course, it's important to have emotional intelligence. In order to have emotional intelligence, to be able to sustain those harsh moments, are also to dive into the emotions and analyze the present moment. Of course, we got to acknowledge the pain that we are experiencing, but then we choose to suffer or not. Analyzing the pain is welcoming the pain, just like a welcoming a blessing. Sitting with it, or sitting with your illness, sitting with your divorce, sitting with your physical diagnosis, sitting with a heartache, a past experience trauma, looking at it with a lot of love so that we can understand why it is here. Perhaps we're not able to understand completely, but when you look at it in the lenses with gratitude, then that burden becomes less, that pain becomes more tolerable. And then when we are ready to fully understand why that experience happened, then it will be given to us. But taking opportunity of that moment to grow as a spirit, it's a must. We grow more from our mistakes than from our accomplishments. I must say from my own experience. I have grown mostly from my mistakes and my accomplishments. But not that I wish always to always make mistakes. Please, let's not think that way either, right? We cannot think about, oh, I'm just gonna whip myself and gonna make my life really difficult. I'm gonna welcome all the negative things because then now you're welcoming much more than you're supposed to have in that moment. Then your system will break down. Then you're not gonna be in harmony to be able to process all of it for your growth. So there's a healthy balance there too. But let's continue on. So good workers, on the other hand, understand before anything else the profound meaning of the opportunity they have received. Wow. I must repeat. Good workers, on the other hand, understand before anything else the profound meaning of the opportunity they have received. But why? Because good workers understand that whatever situation they have attracted, that difficult relationship, that I would say that job loss or whatever it is that came to them and and is in front of them, they see it as an opportunity to grow without discounting, without pushing aside all the pain that they will experience. Yes, but they understand it. They cry when they have to cry. They scream when they have to scream. They can get sad, but then they get up. They get up and keep working. They get up and keep serving. Like Jesus said, my Father always works. So why should he not work? So let's go for another one. They not only make use of all their own resources, but they also respect other people's. Wow. Now, this part I really, really appreciate as well, because if we not only make use of our own resources, but also respect other people's, then we're able to work as a team without putting also ourselves down, because we realize that we are also light. I love to give this idea of all of us, the children of God, are like little puzzles. And when one piece is missing, when you look at the puzzle and you feel like, oh, have you ever tried to do a puzzle? 500 pieces, 1,000 pieces, 1,200 pieces, so on and so forth, or 2,000, right? And then you put it and it's so beautiful. But then what happens when it's missing a one piece or few pieces? You're like, oh, it's even not good to look at, right? So our pieces, our work that we contribute, what we are, is as special as somebody else's pieces, as special as somebody else's. So we do not disregard or put down ourselves. We elevate ourselves, knowing that we are needed, we are important. We won't live for the rest of our eternity burning in hell. And that's why another topic to talk about the beauty and the blessing and the love, what it is, reincarnation. But that's another topic. Let's go back. So we use our resources, but also we look at our neighbor and be like, hey, you are great. You have your abilities. You have so-called the gifts, right? Gifts are really what we have accomplished throughout our evolution. And now um, we have it. So if we have that, they too have it. And perhaps they focused on an angle where you haven't yet. So we exchange ideas, we support one another. And that's beautiful. And then they do not depend on the seasons. They plant the fruit of the cold and heat with the same enthusiasm. Hmm? Yeah. They plant the fruits of the cold because they do not wait on the seasons. Why not? Because the opportunity, it's now that we have. So if it's winter, if it's raining, if it's snowing, we go out and we serve. But when it's summer, when it's the fall, the spring, beautiful day out, we also don't sleep on the job. We go out and we serve. And then it continues by saying they are friends of nature. They learn its lessons. They are upbeat and they find the same contentment in both the hard work of sowing and in the joy of harvesting because they understand the blessing of the now. That is the main opportunity. That's all what we have in this moment. So, for those who have a garden or work on a garden, a vegetable garden, I myself have one, and it's wonderful to be able to harvest, the strawberries, the lettuce, and the different, the eggplant and the cucumber and so on and so forth. It's so great. Oh my gosh, it's here. And then you eat, you cut it up and put it in a salad and you eat it, give it to your family. It's great. However, what did it take for that cucumber, for that vegetable to be on my plate and on my family's plate? It took effort to plan, to to plant, to care for the earth, make sure it's healthy, the dirt, to make sure the garden has water, plenty of water, but not too much of water, to keep an eye and watch the growth, to cut off those leaves that are yellow, right? Those leaves that are ill. And then at the end, we have the cucumber, we have the fresh vegetable. So that's why the good worker won't waste time. And then it continues by saying, in this sense, the lesson of the master is clothed in marvelous meaning. Yes, it is. In the swirl of the world's incomprehension, we must not expect Christ's kingdom to be an immediate accomplishment. Even so, the opportunity is ongoing for people to collaborate fully with the gospel in order to spread it. So there's a lot of incomprehension. But if we think about it, our world, the planet Earth, as beautiful as it is still a world that is primitive. So there's a lot of incomprehension. Why? Because there's a lot of learning taking place at the same time. We are sowing and harvesting. Sometimes we stagnate, and there's so much disturbances in between because we are working on the job. And in order to be able to have more comprehension, then we have to do the work. We have to read good books. We have to listen to good music. We have to do the good. Like Vanessa Saloni says, do the good, do the good, do the good. Just like the horse galloping. I taught my children that, and they put each other on their backs and they go around saying, do the good, do the good, do the good. And they still remember and they still do it. But why? Because without doing the good, without learning to do the good, even when we are not there yet, then we put ourselves in a psychosphere of growth. We are able to see us as a DNA from God, His children. And then we grow and we try to match the energy of Christ as much as possible. As much as possible. And it says, we must not expect Christ's kingdom to be an immediate accomplishment. When we want immediate satisfaction, the lesson won't be learned so deeply. Because immediate satisfaction, it stays in the surface. Let's give an example. Back in the days, my grandmother, she used to make food from scratch, right? If there's any herbs in the garden, she would get it. If there's anything in the vegetable garden, she would put together, or anything that she was growing, she'd make it. The coconut, the coconut milk, she would crack the coconut and take the meat from it, the white part. She'd take the water, use the water, put in the blender, and then make her foods from scratch. So she learned so much lesson here. How to grow a coconut, how to harvest a coconut, how wait for the season to be able to harvest the coconut, right? And then also which coconut to use, which coconut is good, which coconut is not, and how to make food from the coconut. Nowadays, we want a coconut water. What we do, we go to the store, which is like an immediate satisfaction. We buy a little coconut bottle, we drink it. Of course, we are grateful for it because there's a lot of work that came, that was done to put the coconut water in that bottle. So we are not also, we also here, we have to acknowledge those who made those first steps, right? Be very mindful with that. But we miss the process. So really, to the immediate accomplishment, it's like drinking, eating from a food that's frozen, that you just need to warm it up. We miss the how to, the sacrifices that come with it. Of course, living in a society now where there's a lot of development, not a lot of people will have that opportunity, right? We all don't have to quit living in cities and have to go in the mountains or in the forest or in the rural areas in order to experience that. I'm not saying that, but we can do that with other things. Immediate accomplishment, let's bring it back to ourselves, our own emotions. We want to feel calm, and we ask, please, God, give me some patience. And then what comes? People with very difficult and challenging, I would say, things that will come to us to ask for help. That perhaps will agitate us, right? Difficult situations. But why? Because from the situation, if we take the opportunity to lean in to that difficulty, then we learn the steps of take a deep breath, calm down, relax, don't react, but respond. Use the frontal cortex of our brain and now go back to the primitive um, part of the brain, which is reaction, right? Which is fight. So we learn those things. Isn't that wonderful? And then it says, the blind in spirit will continue to complain. On the other hand, those who have awakened to Jesus know that their time to redemptive toil is now. It does not lie in the past or in the future. It is this every day. It is the blessed opportunity to serve in the name of the Lord here and now. So we have a choice today. Are we going to continue to be blind and complain? Or are we going to take the opportunity that is now to look ourselves in the mirror, to have an honest conversation with ourselves and grow from the opportunity, the responsibility that we have today? Do we need to be perfect? No. Jesus is not perfect either. The only one who is perfect is God. But he can improve. And improving every day, then it makes us great. The greatness comes from wanting to grow. The greatness comes from looking at ourselves deeper, with kindness, with non-judgment, with love. So with that being said, let's close our eyes. Let's pray so that we don't miss too many of the opportunities to grow in our daily lives. Jesus, we thank you so much. What a beautiful lesson, Emmanuel. Thank you for breaking it down for us so that we can understand the meaning of the verse that Jesus has been teaching us for thousands and thousands and thousands, I would say, of times through his vibration, even before he came to the earth. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be alive, God. Thank you for creating us. Thank you for making us unique, like a piece of the puzzle. No one can take our place, nor we cannot take nobody else's place. But working together, then we are able to show unity, to show the meaning of what it is to be part of a universal family. Let this world that we live in, the blessed place, be a place where we all connect with each other, knowing that if one of our brothers and sisters is behind, Jesus will leave the group and we'll go back to find that brother or sister that for whatever reason stay behind. So this lesson is profound, Jesus. And we ask you with a lot of humility, please help us so that we don't lose sight of what is for us to do in this moment. Help us to, even with painful bodies due to illnesses, lacking mental abilities, but still we can do something. Help us to serve. Help us to serve as much as possible. Bless those brothers and sisters that in this moment are lacking behind. Bless us that are behind. But behind in a sense of stagnation, because we never regress, we only progress. And thank you for teaching us that. Bless our family members, our loved ones, our friends, our community, our country, the whole planet Earth. Not only the incarnates, but the discarnate, the spirits. We send in this moment love to all politicians in the world, all leaders, but also all the people that work on the bottom, lifting us all with their daily sacrifice and work with a lot of love, continuing with a lot of gratitude, pushing forward and bringing so much joy to the planet Earth. Help us be like them, upbeat, ready to serve winter, fall, summer, spring, no matter what season. Help us to be able to plant the fruits from the cold, but also the fruits from the heat. And helping us to see the beauty in it all throughout the process. Thank you so much. So be it. Thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure. Take care. We'll see each other again next Thursday. God bless all of us.